Hello and welcome to this section on International Women's Day 2024. As you know, we are celebrating male allyship as a very important part of the solution to gender balance. Yes, you heard that right. It is gender balance. And that is what we believe we need so that our world is a far more equitable place. The theme this year for International Women's Day is Invest in Women and Accelerate Progress. And today I have with me someone who's living this every single day. Meet Mr. Rahul Gupta, the founder and managing partner at ValuAble, a venture debt fund in India. Rahul has also had over 20 years at Axis Bank and therefore a very seasoned professional in banking and finance. He does understand the talk of money and at the same time has decided to make purpose central to his own venture fund. An amazing combination of purpose and profit. Rahul, thank you so much for joining us. Truly a pleasure to have with you here with us to talk more about male allyship and what it means to invest in women to accelerate progress. Welcome once again.
Thank you so much, Karen, for a lovely introduction. Well, I was just 3 years short of 20, but that's fine. Phenomenal experience working with some incredible leaders across. Such an honor to see how thought leaders like you are trying to bring right subjects into mainstream and put right spotlights on the challenges that we need to address when we envision India as the top three economies in the world. We today stand at the right spot with the right energy, with the right talent. Yes, blend allyship into anything and everything we do as men and women come together as friends, not trying to replace, but to complement. I think we all are extremely excited of the world that we'll collectively deliver. So, Karen, we were having certain conversations when we met at the Rising event as well, and when we discussed on how should men needs to feel like allies and not be threatened. In fact, post that, I was having a conversation with one of my team members who accompanied me there. We were conversing in the evening, and we said, while we want our women to be empowered, but we'll end up creating a wrong world if the men are threatened. And she suddenly turned back and said, "But Rahul, what's wrong? I mean, women have been threatened all these years. But I said, then are we endorsing the view, an eye for an eye?
Right.
What happened between the two communities at two world wars? Are we
Correct.
saying the winners now have the license to uh, slosh the other side? And generations after generations, will that take us anywhere? How and can we had a quick chat where you were talking about, I think, your mother to a son, um, your wife to a man. I'm sure as much as you want, and correct me if I'm wrong, but as much as you want to be equal, you don't want them to feel threatened. Is there a gap when I say that?
I completely agree with you. And I think that's the reason why we are having a conversation about male allyship, right? First and foremost, I must tell you, I don't even believe in the term gender equality. And when I go for conferences and people invite me and I say that line, I can almost hear the pin drop silence, right? Because people are like, what is she talking about? She's come here to talk about gender and she says, I don't believe in gender equality. And I think the reason is very simple, which is kind of two kind of aspects or two perspectives to what you just asked. One is, we can never be gender equal, right? Because everyone is got their own gender characteristics, right? who are you and me to decide that being aggressive is a male characteristic and being soft and emotional is a female characteristic, right? We also had a roundtable, and someone put it very beautifully, in fact, better than me as well, saying we are gender unique. So instead of talking of gender equality, I think we should talk about gender balance, right? Where everybody has a choice and freedom to be who they are in whatever manner they choose to manifest their own personalities, and not equate that to a stereotype and a bias. I think that is what I look for when I talk of gender balance, right? Number one. The second part to what you just said is about, you know, you cannot go with a battle cry into something like this, right? Because this is not about destroying something, or this is not about winning something. This is about building a new society where we have gender balance. And so this is not about telling men, hey, listen, you know what? We are going to take something away from you. Instead, it is about saying, look, on one hand, in the workplace, there's more than enough place at the table for all of us. So give me that place, right? That's one part. And in the home, to have the choice, the support, the system that will allow me to do what I choose to do. And that could be to be a homemaker, incidentally, right? So having that choice and freedom, again, as I said earlier. So therefore, threatening men or feeling victorious over men when we move ahead in some ways should not be the approach at all, because ultimately we need both genders, and again that takes me back to the gender balance. We need both genders together for the world to come, right? And that's what we should be looking for. Of course, there are many who claim that with technology being the strides being made in technology and all other aspects of the world, we probably don't need each other also. But I think that's a world that's very distant at this
We,
point for us.
we were discussing that, for the longest, just allow me a minute.
Yeah.
For example, in Hindi Puranas, we talk about Shiv and Shakti. Now, who can say, is Shiv superior or Shakti? Now, can you visualize a world without it? Have we gone a little too overboard? Now, clearly, when you read certain books, you understand. And I'm taking it at a very psychological level, this philosophical and psychological level, this conversation. But we all know the reality at the ground, and UNDP 2023 report was a clear reflection on how the state continues to be poor. But at the same time, we are worried about a parallel world, and we are seeing the abuse of 498. The Calcutta High Court last year came out with a judgment on this, cautioning we need to be very, very careful. Now, how do you cater, and how do women as a community then again come together? And I mean, a very, very dear friend of mine, Deepika Narayan, she made two movies. One called Martyrs of Marriage, and second was India's Sons. One was on false dowry cases, and second was around false rape cases. Very recently, got to know certain situations with with a very dear friend's cousin. I believe at one end, when we need to come up with documentaries, success stories of women at the same time need to own stories like India's Sons and Martyrs of Marriage and say we are equally accountable for this. Otherwise, I personally had situations, Karen. Not going into many, I personally faced so many situations. Well, I'm a person with a side challenge, and for the longest, I must admit, I don't know how to work. I didn't know that the right way to work with somebody was to hold their elbow. Because to my mind, when I used to hold somebody's elbow, they used to twist the elbow like this. And I thought, "Arey, meri wajah se haath rakhne mein takleef ho rahi hai, so I'll keep my hand at the back." But then can somebody make an issue out of it? Yes, yes, I face some of that. Now, where do you start drawing lines? But do we expect men to be stoned? Do we expect women to be stoned? And then in a world which is unfolding, where further fluidity is coming in, then are we saying men will be threatened of men, women will be threatened of women, men will be threatened of women, and women will be threatened of men? I think this whole ally, because at the end of it, it is what? Superiority, sexuality, empowerment. How do you crack these? And again, we all could be trolled for that. But a queer with queer, are you safe? You're not safe.
Yeah.
A female with a male, safe or not safe? Can men not be attacked? But at the same time, the truth and the hard fact is women continue to remain most vulnerable. We have to correct that. We have to bring it in center, but not create. I was listening to this famous Bollywood star. She was on one of the podcasts, one of the conversations with a famous journalist, and apparently coming up with a whole new brand, and said that one of my vendors was not taking me very seriously when I was in a conversation, but will take another male team member of mine. Well, I'm the one who is paying everybody's salary, but I don't get the similar position. Now, one is 99.999%, I know where this is coming from, that women, are you really serious? Do you know your game? Are you well up the alley? But at the other end, probably, if in a negotiation, now see, two men can go aggressive in a negotiation. And imagine a female, now that same male is put in front of a female and exhibiting the same aggression. Now the person was the same person, similar aggression, but now will be asked to be gender sensitive. What will this person eventually end up doing? Withdrawal symptoms. Because the person may say, "Well, I know I could be aggressive. Rather than getting into a difficult situation, I better withdraw myself from a situation." When I was discussing this particular episode with a psychiatrist, and I think we seem to be living in a false world where we believe that we have cracked some of these codes. These codes, and layer up these complications with the integrated minorities, coming up with from a specific caste, coming up from a particular religion, and coming up from particular demography, coming up with a medical ability or a disability, add up sexuality, what you call today integrated diversity, and then keep changing your country and your location. And these combinations could keep changing. We know there are, they're very limited, but there's a small part of the world which is led by women. How? So I think it's important that we collectively say, well, men need to learn when men need to learn to play at the same balance. And I like the word gender balance, and we often interchange, we often say equity versus equality. That yes, if I have to put a bet, let the merit play. Let me not look at the gender, sexuality, age, language, ethnicity, disability. Can I put them on the side and first evaluate you purely on the merit? Let me not even know your name. And I know one of the global tech companies is actually trying to do that. They're encouraging people, mask the name, don't have gender neutral conversations, don't use he, she,
Yeah.
and let the system pick a CV basis merit, basis capability. So essentially go blindfold.
Yeah.
Essentially go, it's a very interesting world. I mean, imagine today we can't see and today we can't hear. So which means men don't sound like men, women don't sound like women, and men don't look like women. Men don't. Men can't see and say whether in front of me is a male or a female,
Right.
and that way you will then go to a very human level.
True, true. No, so I think the role of technology obviously is huge, right, in making the world more gender balanced, correct? And one of the things that I was talking about again at the round table was that, like we used to have LIFO, FIFO. I think we also have two others. One is GIGO and one is BIBO. And what I mean by that is garbage in, garbage out. Okay, on one hand, and on the other hand, bias in, bias out. And I think that's really becoming really important in today's day of AI and everything, and how we are going to use. But of course, technology.
Repeat the second one. What is Bibo? Repeat that.
Bibo is bias in and
Bias.
bias out. Yeah. So especially with AI, we have seen that, right? We're seeing so many examples of that happening. But of course, technology also has a very positive role, as you said, assistive technology that can be gender neutral. I think that definitely works well for women in the workplace. And so, yeah, some of those thoughts on that aspect would be good to also hear from you on that. Yeah.
So I just repeat the specific question.
So I said how technology is changing the whole landscape for women in the workplace, especially, but also otherwise.
See, again, and again, it's a natural character probably somewhere, where women end up doing a lot of heavy lifting, not just at the workplace, but uh, even at home and other places. Now, with technology coming in, with work from home, with COVID being there, I think a lot of us have seen uh, a lot of physical travel, a lot of optimization can happen by leveraging technology without compromising on your efficiency, productivity, output. Your real roles remain as relevant, and then it's just not limited to women, right? I mean, men and women collectively are able to hold responsibilities. More true, let's say, to IT professionals. I mean, not trying to stereotype, but let's say to IT professionals having and husband and wife or two partners, irrespective, um, can choose to alternate and collectively try to drive home better, office better, and can do that fungibility. Now, technology is, of course, bringing that and making that better. So, see, from a gender efficiency perspective, I also see that as a challenge. I remember having a conversation with a very, very, very efficient, extremely efficient female. And the female and the person walked up and said, I want to take a completely gig role. And I said, why? I could be working from home. It just gets easier. I need to take care of this. I need to take care of that. So agree. Don't kill your aspiration. Don't kill your ambition. I think one of the things that it's very important, women need to hold to their ambition. I remember talking to a friend's wife, a Stephanian Maxi, one of the top rankers, did post graduation, mother to two phenomenal kids. Why did you not pursue job? And the person wasn't to so data analytics, top management. Got married, settled. I said, what? Stephanian Maxi, you've got to be the top of your league. Don't give up your ambition. And can, as I said, some of these subjects, can go all over, and some of these conversations can get never ending. But one of the
You're
challenge
absolutely right.
society.
I think one of the biggest things is women themselves, holding them back. I mean, the constraints they put on themselves, the high level of expectations they put on themselves, and I think sometimes it really needs someone else to tell them, no, you don't have to do this, and that's where I guess both the male allyship as well as other women become very important. That when a woman is taking a step back to kind of hold them and say, no, come back, and that makes all the difference, isn't it? Yeah.
My sense is that one of the biggest institutions which stands at the threat at the back of these challenges is going to be marriage as an institution. Now, if you look at some of the most developed economies, I think given we are now trying to move away and trying to get so indulged or involved in this whole debate, and again, I'll go back to your own word, which is gender balance. Without understanding that, what's happening in our search for or in our pursuit for our ambition, we are all trying to find so much independence that people are trying to live as individuals. And the biggest threat, I mean, forget how the civilization is going to continue. The biggest threat that will then pose are mental health challenges. The biggest fear is, at least I used to have that fear many years back. I mean, um, being on the dining table, having a food by yourself at your old age. Now, but can the two be protected? And maybe somewhere society needs to learn. Society needs to align that nuclear is good, nuclear is great. Joint had its own fame, it had its own balances. Don't go on all extremes. If you're able to find the stride, get the difference. And if women know that it's important for them to be financially independent, if they get control of their finances, if they understand that they are equally empowered, they don't need to lean on anybody. See, there is so much uncertainty we live in. I know somebody in the family. The husband passed away in a bad road accident, mid-40s, and the wife remains vulnerable. Now, at mid-40s, with two teenage kids, you cannot make a choice, because now the minute the person wants to get into the mainstream entrepreneurship, she's being told, oh, you can't do this, it is not your world, it is not your place. And at the same time, this person now is extremely vulnerable at the behest of the society. In our country, a second marriage is perhaps another taboo. And with all these societal complications, at one end, marriage as an institution is going to collapse. That
Right.
is going to lead so many more problems. So it's important that the allyship gets settled. These institutions remain strong. People need to respect. And I recall a very a conversation. I was in office around 4 years back, December 2019. A very phenomenal employee, and I was to travel. It's something which I say with a lot of pride today. The person gave me some very shabby looking notes, and I said, "What is this?" "Ho jayega kal." And I got the person to the conference room and gave her a full dress down. How could you take this job lightly? Few minutes back, I was sitting in the conference room. The person goes out, and I have another male colleague walk in and said, we need to be softer. The person is crying. I said, just get out of this room. And I called the person back. I said, are you okay for somebody to come and tell me that I need to give you concession on your performance because you're a female? No. I said, go and win it. And we will stand for you. We will win it for you. We'll collectively do it. Make us all feel proud. We are proud of you. I said, the reason I got upset because I do not see you less than somebody else. So please go and own your space. Please. And I take so much pride, Karen. That person is doing phenomenally
well. Wow.
And
That's amazing.
Because it's like, we need to go away from some of these emotions. Absolutely. If we got to be pragmatic, we got to own our space. We got to say, I am accountable, I am responsible, I deserve this authority. Men need to let go some authority It is okay. Men cannot run this world by themselves.
True. Absolutely.
We
I think women live by themselves. I think I would like to add that as well. And you mentioned just now about marriage and about connecting and being so overly independent in living our lifestyles, right? I think one of the things that when we talk about design thinking, I know you talk a lot on design thinking. I think we need more and more people to think about systems thinking. You know, because I think then they understand more about the connections that is required and understanding the ecosystem around them that will allow them to really live a life that is far more fulfilling than just this feeling of being that I need to be independent. Yes, of course you need to be independent. Yes, of course you need to be
But
able
the start
to.
point has to be you are independent, right? I mean, why do I need to be? I mean, the start point has to be I I am independent. I'm an independent individual.
Right, right,
That
absolutely.
that that first thought. See, I can today put so much caricature around myself. Oh, I'm a person with sight challenge. I'm a person with hearing thing. How will I go here? How will I do this? Am I independent? The first thing I need to tell myself is I am independent. Well, I don't need anybody. And somebody is going to anyway step. I so much believe in humanity on earth. कोई ना कोई तो आ ही जाता है.
True,
So
absolutely.
चार चार लोग आपको धक्का मारेंगे तो फिर भी कोई ना कोई एक जरूर खड़ा होगा जो प्यार से हाथ पकड़ के चल पड़े.
Yeah. Very amazing. Really, that's a beautiful thought. So for you,
Sorry, just give me a minute. हाँ बेटा.
पापा के नाम से come home.
Check with Ma, I think yes. Sim, can he come home? Yes.
Yeah, you can come home.
Sorry.
I think that is very sweet. Yeah. So we all deal with that, right? Play dates and everything. Okay.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I just want to go back a little bit because today I mean, we are talking about the International Women's Day, and this year, the theme is investing in women, accelerate progress, right? That's the theme for this. Okay. Do you need to?
No, 1 second. Smile.
Huh?
I'm on a call with him.
Okay.
Let him come and big. Sorry, Cap. Sorry,
No,
you
no,
may
no.
want to repeat it because I know that's.
I will. Yeah. Okay.
So I was listening. You're
Yeah.
talking about International Women's Day. Women. Yeah.
Yes,
Go on.
yes. So, today is, I mean, we are talking obviously regarding International Women's Day, and the theme this year for 2024 is about investing in women, accelerate progress, right? So, if we want progress in the world, bringing women into very actively both in economy as well as from a societal point of view is going to be critical. So, how do you invest in women? And of course, with your own entrepreneurial experience as well as your more than 20 years of experience in banking and finance, what is your take on invest in women, and how do you think we would like to see more and more investment coming into women's empowerment so that we can accelerate progress?
It's a fantastic question, and I can say it with a lot of pride. My first stepping stone when I have to evaluate. So you start in. Now we are talking about investing through capital, but as a leader, I used to invest into people because people became my largest asset. And मैं बड़ी खुशी से कहता था, my girls are better than any boys around the organization. I used to say it with a lot of pride, and it's just a very gratifying thing that a lot of them are just around me. We've had those relationships forever. First thing for us, when we at ValuAble, when we talk of inclusion at two levels. We are as much passionate about women entrepreneurs as much as businesses that are empowering women, irrespective of who is behind that business. So Karen wants to invest into business and run a business. We are excited. Karen's husband wants to invest in a business which is building a scalable, return-led, biodegradable sanitary pads business, we are equally excited. What we are not excited, Rahul Gupta as a person with disability, Karen as a female, want to come and run a gambling business? No. Irrespective of your background, doesn't meet our thesis, we will stay away. So one, I think we are very clear. We believe in ability and drop all our guards that are behind.
Great.
We are still in the process of building and investing. I think only time will tell us, but we would want to take a lot of pride seeing some of these businesses. I came across a phenomenal business led by two phenomenal women entrepreneurs, millet-based food. And I've been saying to them, I just want to be in this business. Not because I need to tick something, but that's the sort of messaging we need to do. We want to.
Very true. You know, okay, sorry, go ahead. Please go ahead.
So identifying, and I think we need to drop our guardrails. And my request to the women is, when we are willing to put all the authority in your hand, please do not shy away from accountability and responsibility. I think the only thing, Karen, that worked for me to climb up the professional ladder is I never shoved away from my accountability at the back of my discipline.
Absolutely.
I could have just taken or made a statement saying, I cannot do this, or I could not complete this because I had a side challenge. Doesn't work. Next day, the job should not land on my desk.
True.
I would want to stay away from that.
Absolutely. I think the saying holds true for everybody. Like the day you leave your excuses, you will find results. Right.
And if you did it, and if somebody is still not willing to put it on the next time to you, do not hesitate. Go out and ask what went wrong. Do not hesitate to ask for pay parity. Do not hesitate. But at the same time, don't look at the watch. There are tough times where I think the great leaders know what work-life balance is. And if teams start working like owners, entrepreneurs, and not as employees, see, some of these are very, very cross-sectional, intersectional subjects. but we have seen phenomenal women. You are here, we met Shrija. There are people, all of you are trying to bring this to limelight. I think it's important at the end of the day, what I also love to see is what all intelligence we got out of this. By the time we meet next year, can we all sit and reflect, this is what we saw, this is what we heard, this is what we are willing to onboard for the next 1 year, and this is how we delivered over this 1 year. And we all as collectively stakeholders then should be accountable to these causes. Because, I'm sure you and I will love to have more conversations. But at the end, I want to say, are we really moving the needle?
Yeah. Just give me one more minute. Rahul, just 1 second. I'm just coming back. Just give me 1 second.
That sounds lovely. Tomorrow, actually, I have a catch up with Ganesh in the morning at 11. So let's aim for breakfast on Tuesday morning around 10 o'clock. Anywhere close to office works best for me. So let me know what works for you. Thanks. Have a good Sunday.
Sorry. I'm done? Yeah. Okay. Great. I'm so sorry. Really,
No, please come on. I held you back for a Sunday, and I think I'm so glad that we are all discussing this. I'm so glad that we all can sense a shift in narrative. We all can see that nobody is trying to be a seeker. People are trying to be players. People are trying to be allies. And I think the whole definition. And at the same time, if we all are able to see, we need to call a spade a spade. If somebody is non-performing, we cannot have biases. Biases can be in the social arena, not in the economic arena, because then it leads to lack of productivity. And stakeholders never give up. shareholders never give up. They'll give up for a year, 2, 3. The 4th year, they will turn back. What's working? We've all seen phenomenal women leaders. But I wonder where a lot of them are today. There was a time when the Indian banking ecosystem was entirely led by women. I mean, don't go too far, just a decade back. Of course, women are there. Women are there at the leadership position. But why aren't we seeing many, many, many more? What will it take us? What do we need to do? But at the same time, if we are seeing that men are getting threatened, I think we parallelly need to own that as well, because that's again our own space. Let's not leave it for somebody else to solve. Let's go and take ownership even of those fake situations.
Very true. So, probably my last question now to you. We talk about progress, right? Accelerate progress. And if you see our tagline, that is IDOBRO's tagline, we say multiply your impact. And what we mean about that is operating at the intersection of purpose, profit, and peace, And very often people tell me, how can you talk about profit when you're talking about, social impact, etc., right? And I'm like, exactly, right? If you use profit, for the right reason, which is for progress, for prosperity for everybody, then there's nothing wrong with profit. And that's where if you're making profit with purpose or using profit with purpose, then that should lead to progress and prosperity that in turn brings peace for all. Right. And so that's the way we kind of look at that. And I would love to hear your thoughts on how do you see purpose, profit, and peace in the same.
I'm just smiling more because at ValuAble, we call ourselves a blend of profitability, purpose. Yes, instead of peace, we call it passion. We are capitalists. What to do? So we call it the 3 P's. But yeah,
you also need peace to function in, right?
Absolutely. That's what I said. For now, we'll expand the 3 P's to 4 P's and passion and peace. And interestingly, Karen, the way we run our deck, we talk about. So I earlier realized I changed the version quite a bit. I used to put this slide first, and my first slide used to be profitability and purpose can coexist. Now I realized that a lot of people turned back and said exactly the same reaction. Are you talking charity? Are you talking impact? This is hold on. We changed the whole flow of the deck. Now what we do, we go and present the deck and say how we are going to outperform the market, create better returns for investors, put founders in a better position, and become a holistic player. The minute we are done with that, and we are able to pass the messaging strong and sound to the investors or to the audience, that's when we turn the page and say, hey, profitability and purpose can coexist. And there's a phenomenal data by Financial Times that looked at the top 1,000 companies that outperform the markets in terms of profitability and purpose, profitability and revenue. They all were purpose-led. In fact, it's so interesting. I've just penned down an article on the triple bottom line approach. Now, ESG, the way some of this is going to come in, and capital forces are going to deliver this. The 3 largest pools of capital are sovereigns, endowments, and pension. Now, globally, these, let's call that responsible capital. This responsible capital is asking businesses to get better up on their ESG delivery. Now, it is not out of some awakening that every large or listed company comes up with an ESG slide on their investor deck, where they stand. People are talking about what percentage of women employment, what percentage of queer, what percentage of disability. Now, just one of the metrics. I know gender can cut across many more. Now, because people are learning to be accountable, when you try to be accountable to a matrix, you start reflecting on that matrix. You start identifying gaps on that matrix. And that's when you start finding business. One of the largest multiplex chain in the country, the founder made a phenomenal statement. Said, we know the women in the household make the decision which theater to go basis the hygiene factor in that theater. So one thing that they started doing was focusing on hygienic toilets and providing necessary stuff within those toilets so that women feel comfortable. And now people are realizing, address the needs, address the ask. So this is core capitalism. Women need to recognize they are the largest consumer pool in the world. They make consumer decisions, and corporates will today go all out to do anything and everything to capture their share of wallet. Now at the bottom, what will help with this coming together, you will eventually start by people. A lot of businesses do it genuinely, but if somebody is even trying to do it optically, but these ESG matrices will make people accountable to keep delivering greater good. And we will start seeing shift in these matrices. So yes, profitability and purpose. We do not even have to respond now to this. The way responsible capital is shaping up. These matrices are converging. These matrices will converge. And yes, a very great takeaway from me here on is the whole dimension of peace, which again will take us back to the allyship. Blend this with allyship. Let's not think of purpose as charity. Let's think of that as prosperity. As we bring this all together, we collectively are there to deliver greater good. Is something which I love to say. Let's just align ourselves. So yeah,
And that's what we mean by peace, right? We're not talking about peace, which is normally thought of in two extremes. Either it is associated with war or it is associated with meditation and yoga, right? That's not what we mean by peace. We're talking of peace as the everyday practical peace, the peace that we need as something within ourselves, the resilience we need to deal with the different issues of life, the peace between people, okay, so that you can function effectively in a society or in a workplace, the peace between us and our environment, our nature, everything around us. We need that peace, right, in that kind of social, economical, as well as physical environment. And then finally, of course, peace in nature, because if you have disasters and you have problems in nature, that also affects our peace. And that's what we mean by practical peace, peace at all these four kind of levels. So yes.
And it resonates so much with us. In fact, at ValuAble, our mission statement is we envision to build a greener ecosystem where diversities could coexist, underpinned by the principles of equity to attain freedom from exclusion. Can we all envision the true Ram Rajya, where different people from irrespective of your gender, irrespective of your sexuality, irrespective of the caste, irrespective of what religion you practice, whether you have an ability or a medical disability, can you all learn to respect each other's view? Don't make other person feel threatened. Be as relevant. I know it's going to take time. It's not an overnight play, but I think till the time we have committed people like you who are trying to bring this dialogue to mainstream, who are trying to put spotlight on the right subjects with the right intention, I have no doubt in my mind that we are progressing in the right way to deliver greater good.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rahul, for joining and sharing your valuable insights. I think it's really great, and you are the role model for inclusion and being independent, but at the same time ensuring that you understand your role as well as those around you. And I think this is something that everyone needs to learn, because there are multiple issues that we face where discrimination happens, right? Whether, like you said, whether it is caste, creed, gender, as well as obviously disabilities. All of these have their own dimensions and can cause a lot of issues for people to kind of survive and live a full life. But I think just being confident and being, starting with that point, as you said, be independent. I am independent, starting with that. And then, yes, you will find the kind of support you need. You will find people to connect with, really connect with, to kind of lead a full life. So Thank you so much for sharing these really wonderful moments with us. And yeah, we continue to look at you as a male ally to support women entrepreneurs, helping to bring venture debt, as you said, as a very key resource. And I think far more valuable as well, as I constantly tell entrepreneurs all the time. Go for debt, because the kind of discipline it brings into you would make you more ready for whether it is larger debts from banks or whether it is from going into equity. So thank you for that as
Thank
well.
you so much, Karen, for such lovely words. I tell you, I'm evolving every day. Ask my mother, ask my wife. I've had my own share of learnings, but yes, my belief in equity and diversity remains as strong, irrespective of what consequences I face, what experiences I've had in the past. Nothing is going to shake my belief that diversities can coexist underpinned by the principles of equity. Thank you so much. We remain completely committed. Look forward to building on this collectively. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.